Hi guys, good morning. Today's video is a book review, my first YouTube book review of a book that I've been interested in for a really long time, and it's called Famous Frocks, The Little Black Dress by Dolin Bliss O'Shea. Okay, and so the premise is it's got a number of patterns which are based on the little black dress principle. And yeah, so let's get to it. Now, it comes with 11 pattern sheets that are in this big old envelope attached to the cover of the book. It starts off with a section on basic sewing techniques where it tells you about hemming and what sort of seams and how to do darts. So it covers beginners as well, which is quite good. Okay, and then you move on to the frocks, which have been named after famous people. So, for example, there is one here which is based on Coco Chanel. Did I pronounce that right? Coco Chanel. And it's a knit dress with princess line seams. So it's quite nice. And it also gives you some variations on the same dress. So for example, this is the Chanel variation, which is basically a sleeveless one with a hem trim. And then you also have one which is called the John Crawford. And this is the line drawing for the dress. It's got a lot of ideas, and then the John variation is the skirt, which is bias cut. You have the Ava Gardner, very, very sexy. And that's the line drawing for the Ava Gardner. Let's see the Ava Gardner variation. And this is the Ava Gardner variation. And then you have the Audrey Hepburn, which is quite possibly my favorite, but it's because Audrey Hepburn is one of my favorite style icons ever. And that's the line drawing for it. Very flattering dress with simple princess lines, and it flares out. And this is the variation. Instead of a flared skirt, you get a pencil skirt on the Audrey. This is the Grace Kelly, which it looks quite interesting, and I'd say this is probably the most complicated of all the patterns in the book. The Grace variation is just a simple pencil skirt without a waistband. And another one of my favorite is the Mary Quant. Hope I pronounced that correct. Quant. And this is the line drawing. And it's so cute. I really like the yoke. The variation on this one is just a sleeveless one. Then you have the Liza Minnelli, which is a wrap dress reminiscent of the 1970s. And that's the line drawing for it, sleeveless one. It looks like it's quite flattering, but I know wrap dresses can be quite tricky in order to make sure that they don't gape. I've only ever made one wrap dress, so I'm not an expert. And that's the long sleeve version of the Liza variation. And then you have the Angelica Houston, which is basically a cowl knit, almost batwing dress type thing. The variation for that one is just a simple top with cut-off sleeves. So quite flattering. And then finally there is the Princess Diana, which is just a simple sheath dress. That's the line drawing for it, simple princess lines. And the Diana variation is a simple top to go with it. Oh, and finally is the Kate Moss, which is a raglan sleeve sheep dress. Okay, so those are all of the patterns that you get with this book, and it comes with a pattern sheet. My own personal thoughts on the pattern on the book itself is that it's got some really good, solid, great patterns. So if you're looking for a book, it is something that I would definitely say would be a good investment because of the number of patterns that you get. Personally, I'm probably not going to get this book. I borrowed this from the library, by the way. I'm personally not going to get this book because of the sizing of the patterns. So my bust is 34 inches and they don't have a 34 inch in here. I think it goes from 32 to, cut this bit out. Right, so the sizes are, the XS is in the 33 inches and the small is 36-inch bust. I'm 34 inches, so I have to do a lot of work, a lot of grading in between patterns, in between sizes to get it to fit me. And it just doesn't seem like it's something that I want to do, especially given that there are other pattern books out there that have a 34 bust pattern. And I will do reviews for those as well, because I actually have quite a few that I've bought that are my own personal copies, and they've got the size 34. And that's the only reason really that I'm not getting this book, even though I actually really quite like the patterns in it, but I think I can get those patterns elsewhere without having to do the hassle of fitting. So although I do think that if your bust size is 32 inches or it's 36 inches and you don't have to do a lot of manipulations to get it to fit you, then go for it. If anything, it's also really good to have it in the library. In fact, you know what? I'm adding it to my Christmas list because I do love having the inspiration hanging around. Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe, sharing is caring, and I'll see you later. Oh, what am I wearing today? I forgot to say. So today I'm wearing my knit, my self-drafted knit skirt, and just a simple top. It's a knit pencil skirt that I drafted myself using a Susie Ferrer's Craftsy class, and I will do a review for that someday. Okay,